Ever felt like you're drowning in the pressure to be perfect? To be the expert in everything? What if I told you that not knowing everything, that feeling of being a beginner, could actually be the key to unlocking your best, most powerful self? I know it sounds counterintuitive, but hear me out. We're taught that success comes from knowledge, from mastery, from knowing it all. But here's the catch. The more you think you know, the more likely you are to close yourself off from learning anything new. It's what the Japanese Zen tradition calls shoshin, or beginner's mind. And it's a paradox. The more you learn, the more you risk shutting out fresh perspectives and new ideas. Think about it. We're living in a world where intellectual arrogance, the belief that we've got it all figured out, is becoming the norm. And that arrogance? It's a killer of growth, creativity, and connection. But when you embrace a beginner's mind, you free yourself from that trap. You open up to possibilities, to learning, and to change. It's not about being clueless. It's about choosing to remain curious and open, no matter how much you know. Here's where it gets interesting. People who are intellectually humble, those who can admit they don't know everything, actually end up knowing more. Why? Because they're open to new information. They're not clinging to their current knowledge like a life raft. Instead, they're willing to say, "What else can I learn?" It's that humility, that willingness to admit you don't have all the answers, that leads to real growth. Now let's make this personal. I used to believe success meant always having it together, always looking like I knew what I was doing. But one day, something snapped. I saw a sign that said 2 words that changed everything for me. Beginner's welcome. That sign pulled just the right heartstring to fill my eyes with tears of truth. It made me realize that I'd been holding on to this unhelpful conditioning around achievement. I had been chasing a version of success that wasn't even my own. We've all been there, right? That constant pressure to know it all, to be perfect, to never show weakness. But here's what I learned. When we operate under the belief that we need to be experts in everything, our bodies enter a subtle stress response. It's not always obvious, but it's there. That low-grade stress makes it harder to focus, harder to think creatively, and harder to tap into the very thing that fuels our best work, our intuition. But the moment I let myself embrace the idea that I didn't need to know everything, that's when everything shifted. That's when the pressure dissolved and my mind opened up. When you allow yourself to be a beginner, your body relaxes. Your brain moves into a parasympathetic state, the one that allows you to tune into your intuition, your creativity, and your best ideas. It's like giving yourself permission to breathe again. Imagine what happens when you stop clinging to the need to be right all the time. You stop stressing, you stop blocking yourself from growth, and suddenly, you've got all this space to actually learn. It's like fertilizer for your mind, allowing you to grow in ways you couldn't even see before. You tap into the bright-eyed, bushy-tailed energy that makes everything seem possible again. And that's where the beginner's mind comes in. When you approach challenges with openness and curiosity, when you let go of your preconceived ideas about how things should be, you start seeing new solutions. You start noticing things you were blind to before, simply because you were too wrapped up in what you already thought you knew. This is where the real magic happens. Let's take it a step further. Being intellectually humble doesn't just make you better at work. It makes you better at life. It opens you up to other people's perspectives, to new experiences, and to deeper connections. You stop needing to be the smartest person in the room, and instead, you start asking, what can I learn from the people around me? This is arguably the best mindset to have, especially in a world as politically and socially divided as ours. Think about it. We're all guilty of sticking to our own perspectives, clinging to our version of the truth. But imagine how different our world would be if we all adopted a little more intellectual humility. If we were more willing to listen, to admit that we don't have all the answers, to be open to learning from each other. It's not just a mindset shift. It's a game changer. It's about being adaptable, flexible, and willing to learn, qualities that are more sought after now than ever before. Leading employers, innovators, and thought leaders don't want people who think they know everything. They want people who can adapt, who can grow, and who are open to new ways of thinking. Here's the bottom line. When you embrace the beginner's mind, you remove the chains of needing to be an expert. You free yourself from that constant stress of trying to live up to an unrealistic standard. You open up to growth, to new ideas, and to faster success. The secret to fast-tracking your success isn't in knowing more. It's in letting go of what you think you already know and being open to learning everything you don't. So what does this mean for you? It means that the next time you find yourself feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or uncertain, remind yourself, beginner's welcome. Approach it with a beginner's mind. Ask questions. Be curious. Let go of the need to know everything and just see where it takes you. Because that's where the real growth happens. That's where your greatest achievements are waiting. And remember, beginners welcome.